Why is Trump still posting all of these long boomer rants on Truth Social and not doing anything? And so if that doesn't change fast, we're going to get into laughingstock territory here, because raging impotently when you control the government and everybody's getting away with infinity everything, that's bad. We were supposed to drain the swamp, and it's not being done right now.
We've got the obviously the problem with the Indian visas and your remigration issue. With all of this, Mark, comes the issue. By the way, I don't know if you ever heard, but they were eating the cats and dogs over in Springfield just a few months ago.
They're eating the cats. My kids still listen to that.
That's one of the funniest things he's ever said. You have the issue of the Somalians over in Minnesota. And, I saw somebody post something on Twitter the other day, and I'm like, I don't know why I didn't think of that. If they've got this much money in fraud going on, in money fraud, how much voter fraud can possibly be going on over in Minnesota? One of your new polls that you've got out, you've got some new numbers for me on immigration and assimilation and what Americans think. Because these people come here, Mark, and they think that they're going to create their communities. You look at Somalia, and President Trump is right. It's not a country. They have no government. They have no military. They have absolutely nothing, and they just kill each other. It's not a government. That's not Donald Trump being insensitive. That's not Donald Trump being racist. It's what it is. They think they're going to come to this country and recreate their countries. And I did a whole episode, Mark, on this. I spewed for about 30 minutes, and I probably picked up a lot of fans and a lot of enemies at the same time. It drives me nuts seeing people come to this country and wave their flags and their hair and all this, their independence in their country and how they gained independence. If your country was so good, why'd you pack up and come to America? You're sitting here, you're waving your flags. You're like, why'd you come to America? It's so simple. But these people come here and they think they're going to recreate their communities that they had back home, living in dirt huts here in America, and it's not going to happen. Your new polling shows exactly what I'm saying, correct?
Yeah, this is, and we're starting to get into like obvious territory, which I guess is actually the good thing, because I feel like, 10 or 20 years ago when we talked about politics, we were talking about really wonky policy stuff, and we were talking about, no, people think this, no, people think that, no, how will we convince America? And America's like, screw you, get these people out of here. Yeah. So how important is it that immigrants from foreign countries assimilate to American culture? 46% very important, 31% somewhat important. So that's a combined total of 77%. Only 4% say not at all important. And this fits in with all of our other polling. Mass deportations is very popular. People want a lower level of legal immigration. And even we have, by a 5-to-1 margin, Trump voters say that immigrants are more likely to assimilate if the number of immigrants is reduced. So this is really obvious stuff, but I love it. And what we hadn't talked about, but you watched some of, and I watched too, was this Nick Fuentes Piers Morgan interview, which I don't know if you want to get into or not. But what I thought was the most important part is that the youth are going after the ists and isms really, really, really hard. And that's this set of boomer values that is dying very rapidly in America. And one of them is the poor, huddled masses. The writing is on the wall. If Republicans don't lean into this, then the pendulum will swing back. And then when it swings back again, we're going to see a much, much, much harder right movement. We're going to see people much more hostile to immigrants in this country and a lot less accepting to the kinds of open fraud and abuse that we've been seeing. America wants drastic order. And even the most like independent, non-ideological people that I follow on YouTube, like the influencers, when they see stuff like this Minnesota thing, they're like, what the hell are the Republicans doing? Why isn't Tim Walz swinging from a gibbet? Like, why haven't we thrown Ilhan Omar over the wall already? Like, why? And here's the part that is really bad. Why is Trump still posting all of these long boomer rants on Truth Social and not doing anything? And so if that doesn't change fast, we're going to get into laughingstock territory here, because raging impotently when you control the government and everybody's getting away with infinity everything, that's bad. We were supposed to drain the swamp, and it's not being done right now.
And also from your new polling, the people who are upset, and this is a dangerous number and it's a dangerous category, but the people who are most upset are the future of America, the 18 to 29s. 49% say President Trump has not done enough after promising what he was going to do when he ran for election. That's not good.
This is exactly what I'm saying. They don't give a crap about conservatism. That's
No,
an
it's
ism.
about
They
politics.
don't care at all. All they want is for Trump to actually just do what he said he was going to do. And we have to be very clear-eyed about the fact that the Trump we're seeing right now is not the same Trump that we saw 14 months ago. We went from a Trump who was literally in the McDonald's window giving people fries to a Donald Trump where by 13 points, people say that, no, Trump doesn't understand the problems I deal with on a daily basis. That's really bad. And then which is closer, Trump has a 13-point disadvantage on understands the problems I deal with on a daily basis. Not where you'd want to be. It was like 40 to 53 or something like that. But then which is closer to your opinion, that Trump has done too much of what he promised or not enough of what he promised? And so this is the thing. These under 30 voters, you and I both know they're actually kind of socialist. They don't care about conservatism at all. And what they're saying here is that we don't support Trump now because he didn't do what he said he was going to do. They're like, they're like the Sheila LaBeouf meme. They're like, just do it. Just arrest these people. Like, throw the billionaires out of the White House on their butts and arrest people. And I told this to Trump to his face, and it's not happening. He's jangling the keys again. He's given them, red meat. And this is the part that I think is really dangerous, John, is that he keeps moving the Overton window right. His State Department came out in defense of Western culture in Europe and has been signaling abandoning NATO. He's talking about repealing Hart-Celler. You and I both know that there is no Congress on earth that is going to repeal Hart-Celler. So what happens when you keep dragging the movement farther and farther right and then letting them down harder and harder?
Yep. You know what? It's better to not, and me, I guess, as a millennial, never did I think millennials would be looked upon now as some of the better group of people when you've got Gen Zers and Zoomers and stuff. But no, and that's my biggest pet peeve is people who lie. I'd rather you not tell me you're going to do it and not do it than you tell me you're going to do it and not do it, because at that point you lied and you didn't keep your word. And Lou Dobbs used to always say to me, say what you mean and mean what you say and be a man of your word. And I mean, it's something that always stuck with me because he would say it to me all the time. Not that I wasn't a man of my word, but I think he tried to instill it into me, and it stuck with me every single day. You piss more people off when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, because you create a false sense of hope and a false sense of expectation. Going off some of these numbers, Mark, knowing what you know now about each of the candidates, looking back, this is another number that frightens me a little bit. If the election were today and you know what you know now from the last 11 months that President Trump was president, or however many months it's been, who would you vote for? What's the numbers?
So this one's interesting, and it's actually better for Trump than I thought. We have to acknowledge that Democrats are +3 on the generic ballot, which is 6 points better for them than they were doing a year ago. And Trump was also -12 net approval when this poll was taken. But Trump loses by 1 point. So he's given up a couple of points of support. Kamala Harris, if the election were held today, Kamala Harris would win by a point nationally, which means that Donald Trump could technically probably still eke it out in the battlegrounds. This is night and day different than the situation in 2021, where in just 10 short months, Americans had a complete buyer's remorse on Joe Biden, going from literally +6 polling nationally for Biden to +10, a 16-point collapse. And so Donald Trump has built a very solid base of support. But this is, again, all about the fact that he's never going to be on the ballot again. And in 326 short days, we could be looking at the 120th Congress that's going to literally arrest and impeach everybody.
Just moments ago, I saw that the Democrats actually knocked down Al Green, who we saw in the hallways of Congress not looking too well, knocked down their impeachment of President Trump. Nearly 24 Democrats joining the House GOP to quash it. So promising sign that not all the Marxist Dems are completely bad. Most of them are.
Well, they're smart enough to know it doesn't help them now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, for sure.
What you're going to see is Republicans joining with Democrats to impeach Donald Trump.
We've already seen.
They're going to come up with some fake hoax. Already, John, think about what we're looking at now. We're looking at the Republican Senate Armed Services Committee, the Republican Senate Oversight Committee. Aren't they convening an investigation into Pete Hegseth for freaking blowing up narco terrorists when they haven't investigated Epstein? They haven't investigated January 6th. They haven't investigated the laptop from hell. They haven't investigated Act Blue. I could go on for 10 minutes and just list the things they haven't investigated. And you know what? I didn't talk to you about this, John. With Donald Trump having